Campfacer.
Hey campers, welcome back to another video, but before we get into it today, I'm going to do a big shout out to my camp members. Thank you for joining the channel, thank you for the support, I appreciate that. If you guys are looking to become a member of the channel and supporting, I will put a link down in the description below, or you can click the join button at the top of my channel. So in today's video, Wes Keltner, the CEO of Gun Media, shared this on Twitter the other day. He said, I found an old pitch deck from 2016 for F-13. Interesting seeing the early iteration of Jason's abilities along with the very early VR concept. We planned on doing VR post-launch, but bugs, then the lawsuit. Y'all know the rest. Pretty cool though, right? Now I found this pretty interesting that he's sharing something that they could have done or they planned on doing, but things changed around, and then even like on the back burner, they were possibly going to do it later, but then the lawsuit came into play. But that being said, let's get into more of what he shared with us, you guys. This is pretty fun. It's pretty interesting stuff, even though it hurts that we're never going to get it, but it's always fun to see what they were going to do. If you're into the game as much as I am and others out there, we need to know more of what they, it's always interesting. So let's get into this. So first off, he shared a storyboard and a brief introduction to what the VR part of the game was going to be. I think they were going to use this in place of the virtual cabin museum that they have now in the game. This is possibly the idea, the direction they were going to go, or they were going to use this in the single player. I'm not totally sure, but let's read what he had to say. Now here it says, the industry hasn't seen a Friday the 13th video game for over 25 years, but thanks to Gun Media and Crystal Lake Entertainment, all that is about to change. For the first time since 1989, players will get to witness a living, breathing Camp Crystal Lake through the eyes of a careless teenager counselor or the legend himself, Jason Voorhees. And what better way to complement this epic comeback than to utilize virtual reality technology? Friday the 13th will have two primary game modes, online 7v1 asymmetrical multiplayer and offline single-player challenges. It is in these single-player challenges that we think virtual reality will really shine and allow us to create a VR experience that will send shockwaves through the video game industry. Now let's read this piece. The killer, Jason's abilities, movement, and weapons. Now take note, you guys, a lot of this might have changed slightly. There might have been different plans. As you're going to see when I read this, you're going to see different things that might have been in place of what's now in the game. So it's pretty interesting. Let's get into this. Sensory. This ability is passive and always active. Anytime a counselor makes noise, indicators will start to appear on the killer's mini-map. The louder the counselor is, and the longer he or she makes noise, the more precise the mini-map indicator will become. This will eventually make it easier for the killer to pinpoint his target's exact location. Morph. By highlighting a specific section of the map or a specific landmark, the killer will be able to morph instantly to a new location with the press of a button. The killer has a limited number of morphs so he can use before running out, so he must use them wisely. Specifically, when he knows a noisy counselor is vulnerable, each kill refills one slot of the morph meter. That is pretty interesting. So he had limited amounts. Now, obviously the game has, you just gotta wait for it to refresh. But it would have been interesting, you guys, to see how it would have played out with limited amount of morphs. I bet people could have used that to their advantage as a counselor, knowing, oh, he morphed 3 times or whatever, so then they're safe. They could have trolled that idea. So I'm kind of glad they didn't use that, but it would have been kind of fun to play with it. Anyways, let's get into this. Blood ping. With a very long cooldown, blood ping allows a killer to locate counselors despite their noise level. Once used, the killer will see a small indicator of the mini-map that represents a live counselor. This indicator will fade slowly after a few seconds. So it seems kind of like it would have been harder for him to see ping. It would have went away after, that could have been, still playable. I mean, I would have liked to have that in the game now to make it a little harder for, easier for the counselors to get it, like, make more noise and not have to worry about Jason as much. Movement. Unlike the teen counselors, the killer is big, brooding, and intimidating. His movement options reinforce this. He's not as agile. He can't sneak, crawl, crouch, or take cover against objects. He has one walk speed that is slightly faster than the victim's walk speed. So you guys, this is pretty cool. This is pretty interesting that they were going to possibly use a VR experience in place of single-player challenges or the virtual cabin. Now, that would have been very scary to me. I would have loved to use a VR in this game. That would have been really awesome, amazing. But not everybody is going to go out and buy a VR to use that feature in this game. So I'm kind of glad in a way it was an easier way for everybody to experience the virtual cabin. But hopefully someday we will get a VR experience. That would be amazing. That'd be so scary. Not even if it wasn't that scary, even if it was just you feel like you're in Crystal Lake, you're turning around looking around for Jason, or you're just in that environment. You're like looking at the woods, the cabin, the wood in the cabin, the tables around you in the woods and the pine trees. That would have been fun. Wes Keltner also says, "Thank you everyone for walking down memory road with me here for a bit. I loved seeing all your comments and love. One day, not today, we will be in a place to talk more about this, but the wounds are still a bit fresh." Now he goes to show a guitar down in the engine room on the boat from the Manhattan map, and I don't know if that was intended to be part of the single player challenges, which would have been the VR experience, or if this is a photo intended to be used in an actual Manhattan map for the actual game. He didn't really say, to share the photo, but from what I see, the pink guitar, that looks awesome. It excites me. It's definitely cool to see this, these updates and these photos, or him just talking about the past ideas that they had. I'd like Wes to share more about the game with us, even if it's not going to become a reality. I just want to know more about what they planned on doing and so on. And I'm sure you guys do too as well. But when I know more, I will share more with you guys. That's what we're here for. We're here about horror movies, video game. I love this. I love talking about it. I'm here to bring you guys the news, and I thank you for joining. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please consider. And then one more thing, you guys, stay out of the woods.
Something you gotta go through.